Woo! That was an ass whooping, wasn't it? Iowa State just destroys number 25 Baylor in Hilton Coliseum, 74-55. Welcome to postgame. It was just a snoozer of a game, which this is the second time now this year where Iowa State gets a top 25 opponent, comes into Hilton, and really kind of can toy with them. And Marquette game was obviously much more competitive than this one, but you never felt like Baylor was a threat. And just a really good win today. We will talk about it. We thank our friends from Channel Seed for sponsoring pregame and postgame all season long here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network across all of our great social media feeds. We also thank our friends at Keen Project Solutions and the Natuzzo boys, my guys, Clay and Chase. They are financial advisors from Raymond James. New year, new you. Go out and get rich. The Natuzzles will help you with your financial planning. All right. Iowa State, really just a blowout of a game today, clearly against Baylor. I just have some overall observations. Tomorrow night, Williams and Bloom will go really deep into this one. I'm obviously not there. I'm dealing with some stuff back home, so it just had to come back today. But a couple things that stand out. One, Keyshawn Gilbert is definitely one of the top 3 players in college basketball in my mind. Proves it again today. He should be on every Wooden list right now. Is 16 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Just super efficient day today for Keyshawn. He was incredible. The one thing that I kind of have circled, and it was great to see Momcilovic go 4 of 7 from 3. Mainly because in a lot of these big wins Iowa State has had, it's a deal where Momcilovic is kind of like the guy, left behind because they needed to go to Heisey for a defensive stop, like whatever. And it's really good. I don't think Momcilovic at 1 second was having a confidence problem. I don't believe that at all. But I like keeping him engaged in that sense because if you would have drawn up this team, in the preseason, that would have been I think most fans and media would have thought that Momcilovic would have a bigger role than he has so far. And Nate Heisey's been great, done a lot of good things for Iowa State. But what I love to see here is just the depth of different ways that Iowa State can beat you. And sometimes it's got to be a Heisey night. Sometimes it's a Momcilovic night. Sometimes it's a Curtis Jones night, right? But him going 4 of 7 from 3, you're at a different level when Milan is hunting threes like that offensively. And that was my favorite thing when I look at this box score overall, 15 for Milan today. Curtis Jones is just like a consistent 14, 15 points every time out now. I don't even feel the need to talk about him. You kind of take him for granted. The other guy I'm going to highlight, because first of all, Deshaun Jackson, 5 points, 10 rebounds, great line. Jefferson just keeps doing come on, stupid stats, 7, 5, and 8 assists today. One of the best passing big men. Looks like Royce White out there when it comes to passing the rock, except he's a much better free throw shooter than Royce ever was. I thought that Chatfield again, and I don't want to we all fall into this trap where it's like all these guys do great things and then you focus on the one guy who you don't expect and he comes out but what are we looking for right now? Because I think we're all at the point where we watch this Iowa State team and we are thinking Final Four now, right? That type of team we thought it would be. Now they've proven themselves to be on that level on January 4th. I think that's all. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. So what are you looking for? And as I pointed out with Momcilovic, you want different ways to win. You want, one of the problems with the last couple of Iowa State teams is just when they were really good, they were pretty good. But the problem was you just didn't have the depth to have, if Kalsher's off, you're screwed. Right? Like even like last year, you just didn't have it. You didn't have the depth down low. You had some pieces that you liked. Well, now the Chatfield thing is just a totally different beast. Like he's I don't know how to describe him. Like he's certainly not Jefferson, and he brings you a different level of even a little different level of like junkyard dog type grit than Jackson does. Just it is an embarrassment of riches now down low when he is able to come off the bench and do what he can do. 16 minutes today for Chat. And he goes 2 of 2 from the field, 7 points and 4 rebounds in 16 minutes. His rebounding rate is off the charts thus far during Big 12 play. I don't want to overreact to it. That is by far not the biggest takeaway from this game. To me, the biggest takeaway from this game is Iowa State's defense in general. I thought that specifically on the perimeter, they were just outstanding. Baylor 7 of 29 from 3. That's only 24%. And it didn't even feel like they were that good from 3-point range. And some of it's they didn't shoot well, I'm sure. A lot of it is Iowa State is just, relentless when you have Lipsey and Gilbert out there manning the perimeter. So impressive day. Iowa State's bigs still get lost a little bit in rotations and whatnot, but they are getting better, right? Like a significantly better team when it comes to that compared to when Iowa State was out in Maui. So, like, guys, this is really good stuff. You don't want to. I'm not going to crown them on January 4th, but when you break it down, and you have to work to find a weakness for this Iowa State team. You really have to work hard at it to find a weakness. And I'm doing all this, and I haven't talked about Tamin Lipsey at all, right? And like you watch him, and it kind of feels like he's turning back into the guy that he was, right? It feels like Tamin is finally himself again. I don't, coming off of that shoulder deal, you just wonder how tough it was for him just, aerobically to be back, cardiovascularly. We all thought, is he hurt in Maui? They told us he's banged up, whatever the heck that means. But Lipsey finally feels like he is, the guy who we all saw a year ago. Haven't gotten the metrics in on this one yet, but beating Baylor by almost 20 points should do Iowa State a lot of good when it comes to that. It's obviously a quad one win today for the Cyclones, but the net rankings, right or wrong, they love it when you beat good teams by double digits. Iowa State will be rewarded for today's victory handsomely. You look ahead to next week with Utah coming to town. Utah is currently the 66th ranked team in the country on KenPom. They are playing later today, Texas Tech at home. So interesting one there because Iowa State gets Texas Tech, I believe, a week from today. So keep an eye on that one. If you set the old DVR for Iowa State's next two opponents, Utah and Texas Tech, they are about to play later on today. Aiden, if you don't mind, pull that one up for our audience to see what time and what channel that game is on. Because I don't know a lot about Utah. I watched a little bit of their game with Iowa when Iowa came back and beat them up in South Dakota. And same with Texas Tech. It's I don't know about you guys, but it's like we're getting into Big 12 basketball mode, right? Like the bowl game's over, and now it is officially basketball season at Hilton Coliseum. It broke my heart to not be there to give Larry Eustachy a hug today. It looks like that whole thing has been a home run. I was listening to John and Eric on the way back home, and they had Larry on. They had Jake Sullivan, my old buddy, on there who used to do radio with me, and it really makes me happy. There's a lot of people at Iowa State who, it was before my time as far as being around covering the program, but it's always been one of those deals that was just kind of kept in the dark. Nobody really talked about it much. Larry came on our show a little over a year ago and was very open about coming back. And I'm so glad that Mike Green and the Letter Winners Club, I believe is who organized that whole thing, was able to do that for some closure. It's one of the things that I've always deeply regretted for Mike Leach, that he never got that closure with Texas Tech. So happy that everybody got to do that today with Larry Eustachy, giving the man a standing ovation. Not just him. A lot of players on that team were hurting back in that era. It was a regrettable situation, but man, time heals a lot of wounds, right? And I'm so happy for everyone that got to happen today. So really a good day, a really good day for the Cyclones. And listen, I don't know exactly how good Baylor is. They were down a couple guys today. I do think they're definitely a top 25 team. Whatever. You kick their butts. 74-55, absolutely smothered that team. Really, you're up 8 at halftime. It felt like Iowa State was up by 15, if you were just watching the game. There wasn't an aspect of the game where Baylor whooped you. The one thing going into this one, they were a very good offensive rebounding team. Baylor only gets 10 second chance points. So you're basically even with them when it comes to that. Like that would have been a huge stat, right? Going into this basketball game. I want to look at second chance points and I want to look at live ball turnovers. Those are the two. And Iowa State didn't dominate in points off turnovers today, only with 8. But they only forced 8 with Baylor. Regardless, just dominant, completely dominant today for Iowa State. And as I mentioned, very happy for everybody and for Larry, for that whole group from the 2000 team that got to come back and experience this. And hey, all right, so here's the deal. Do you guys agree with me that for Iowa State to play its best basketball, to hit that peak, got to have Momcilovic, this type of Momcilovic? And that's why I'm really excited about today. I want to string a couple together with Milan hitting shots like that. Get him to that level where we're sitting here by the end of the year saying, man, could he go pro? You want Iowa State to go to a Final Four and win a national championship. That's a huge step. And I love seeing him get big back. And the thing was, I never doubted him. It was never like, he's scared to shoot. It was nothing like that. It's just this team wins in different ways. Man, loved seeing him out there seeking shots today. And again, I'll say it last. This is how I'm going to close it. Keyshawn Gilbert is a top 2-3 guy in college basketball right now. If you're going to do a draft and you can take any player in the country to win with, right? Like there's more talented players. There's guys who are going to be drafted higher. That's not what I'm talking about. Who are you going to build your team around for 1 year? It's going to be really tough to not pick Keyshawn Gilbert. He is in that conversation, and he's playing for the Cyclones. So great day. Really happy for everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Love watching the broadcasts on CBS. They do such a great job. The uniforms are impeccable. I absolutely love that uniform combination that Iowa State has. I hope that they use it a lot more. So I'm going to let you guys go. Rob Gray and Connor Ferguson are at Hilton Coliseum, and they will have up the post-game press conferences. I know Connor's going to talk with Scott Drew, see what he thinks about this Iowa State team, and Rob does a great job as always. So thank you so much, Keen Project Solutions. Thank to our friends at the Natuzels, and, of course, Channel Seed. We wouldn't be here without my buddies over at Channel Seed. And we will be back on Saturday, or Sunday, that is, for Williams and Bloom. Tuesday, Leah Nelson and I will have pregame for you. I believe that is a 7 o'clock tip, so we are always going to go 30 minutes before the game. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. We appreciate y'all. Iowa State wins this one today, dominating fashion, 74-55. We'll be back on Sunday night with Williams and Bloom.